How are we, guys? Welcome back. Today we have Henry Hall, who is a professional footballer for Brisbane Roar. So Hen has had multiple different hairstyles with myself. We've gone for an extreme mullet, we've gone for high and tight skin fades, we've gone for low skin fades, mid skin fades. We've had it all. So we've kind of settled on a taper. So what we do is a skin taper on hennas, and then we do square layers throughout his hair. So at the top of the hair and the back of the hair, just to create that little bit of texture as well. Now, hennas has very curly hair, and again, similar to Jez, who he's talking to beside him, it gets in their eyes when they're playing football. So basically what I have to do is try and get what kind of style they're aiming for, because obviously they do like to look good when they're on the pitch as well, but we also want to make sure that it's not too much hassle for them. So again, I'm going to start this cut by taking a section out of the middle of the head, which will be my guideline. This will be my cutting guideline for the rest of the hair, including the back of the head. So I've taken a section out there and I've just decided how much I actually want to cut off myself. Again, I'm point cutting. Henna's has extremely thick hair, so when I'm point cutting through here, it's actually taking out a little bit of the weight as well. So as you can see, I'm just working my way towards the fringe from the back of the head, making sure that we cut enough off so it's not poking in his eyes again. And again, with my square layers, I'm just selecting that section next to my guideline and then cutting to it again. So once I'm done with cutting the top of the head, you'll see I'm just going over my finishing touches here, making sure that I have completed the top of the head. One thing I hate on my clients is hair. It absolutely drives me insane, whether it's just the tiniest little hairs or loads of hair. I want to make sure that whenever I'm performing a haircut, that before I move on to my next kind of section of the head, so if I was going from the top to the back, I want to make sure that I'll blow all of the hair off the client. Because again, there is nothing worse than a client sitting there, loads of hair on them. They're very uncomfortable, especially as you'll see a lot of clients with hair on their face. They just don't want that. Alright, so we are coming into our square layers. And then also what you'll see on this haircut is a little bit of graduation. Obviously we have to create graduation for the taper look. We can't perform square layers and then do a taper, otherwise we would have a massive disconnection. So you can see I'm using the length off the top of the head just to create those layers in the back. And then you'll see me move on to the graduation around the sides of the head when I'm actually about to perform my clipper work as well. Again, I do have a video on square layers where I've done this on a mannequin head. Specifically, you can do this on longer hair or shorter hair. Square layers is exactly the same. That's why I've done it on a mannequin head, just to show you an example of why we do this haircut as well. You'll find a high percentage of your haircuts you're actually doing square layers already, but you're not too sure what it might be called, for example. So yeah, you'll realize a lot of my cutting, I use square layers from the top, the sides and the back, or on the sides and the back I'll go into graduation when I'm doing clipper work as well. Alright, now we're on to the fun part. So what I like to do with my tapers is focus on my key points of the haircut. So you'll see here behind Henna's ears, his hair has grown ridiculously long. So because his hair is so thick as well, I like to come with the grain of the hair. So whichever way the hair is actually falling naturally, I'll cut that way. I do the same thing with beards, but especially behind tapers. I like that to be as natural as possible behind there. So I've just taken a 3 guard at the moment and opened it up all the way. And I'll just come behind the ear running just to get rid of that bulk behind the ear or on top of the ear, which I think a lot of people struggle with tapers. That seems to be the very point where they go, oh, I don't know how short to take that or how long to take that. So yeah, I like to take away that bulk. I don't like it sticking out. So I like to make sure that that bulk has all come down. And you'll see it a lot in my haircuts that I'll actually cut with the way that the hair is lying. Okay, so now we're going to put our skin line in. So I like to use the points on the head when I'm using a taper as well. This probably isn't the best angle, but you'll see it in the after photo. I like to go to kind of just below the top of the ear, but then below the eyebrow as well. And I like to have this as a diagonal line. I do this a lot with my tapers. I do see some people go a lot squarer with their tapers, but I like that diagonal look, and I especially like a low taper. I think it really suits well, especially when I focus so hard on scissor work. I like to make sure that my scissor work is being showed off and I can just do a nice clean taper. So I'm jumping in between guards here just to get rid of that taper length. Again, I'm not going into my scissor work. That is not what I want to do. I've created the graduation already there with the clipper work on top. So now I can just blend in to that. So you'll see I'm coming around with my 0.5 guard. Then I'll go into my 1.5 guard. I do tend to skip guards. I think a lot of the time, like I've said in previous videos, when you're actually talking about, oh, okay, you do a 0, then you do a 0.5, then you do a 1, then you do a 1.5, then you do 2. It's pardon my French, bullshit. But it is actually impossible to cut hair like that because everybody's hair is not the same. One side of my head, for example, you can follow that technique. Then the other side of my head, it would look like an absolute shit fight if somebody was to do that, because it's literally, my hair grows in different directions. There's different color contrasts. That is literally what we're looking for when we're fading. I can't explain that enough to people. When I'm fading, I am not looking for anything else other than that contrast in the hair to just fade all the way up and make it as clean and crisp as possible. That is my number one thing when I'm fading. I'm not worried about going 0, 0.5, 1, whatever. I'm just making sure that my blend is perfect.